We planted several different varieties of chestnuts that have been cultivated as culinary chestnuts. They're supposed to have better flavor and better for human consumption, as opposed to some of your standard Dunstan varieties that people have planted for deer. As a lot of people may or may not be aware of, is the American chestnut at one time was one of our primary hardwood producing trees in the northeast kind of section of the country. Chestnut blight came in and kind of wiped all those trees out. There are still a few, but not nearly in the production that they used to. So there's been several different kind of attempts to kind of increase the flavor profile of Chinese chestnuts that are resistant to the chestnut blight. This particular variety we have here is Moss Barger. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And the way we kind of overwinter these to kind of keep them ready and in stasis until it's time to plant, roughly about this time of year, is we'll actually put them in a growth medium. Particularly this time we're using kind of just a damp sand. And we find that that works pretty well for us. We've used different things, peat moss and a few others, and we kind of run into some struggles with mold and different things that kind of make the seeds not viable anymore. And what we'll do is we'll just squeeze all the water out. And if you look, you can't even really get it. Almost only the way I can describe it is it feels cold. It doesn't even really necessarily feel wet. And what we'll do is we'll kind of bury them down in here, and you can see one right here. And I don't know, you can just see right here on the edge that the taproot is starting to emerge. And this is a great time whenever you'd want to come in and start planting them. And you will struggle with things like squirrels and voles and different kind of just varmints that will eat and dig up your chestnuts. So I'm going to show you kind of an idea on how we've kind of got around that to let them get established before we'll come along with something like a tree tube and plant over that to allow the tree to go ahead and emerge all the way up and keep deer from browsing the branches. So I talked about how we like to try to protect our chestnuts when we plant them. Essentially, whenever we dig a hole for the chestnuts, we'll take an old just vegetable soup can, whatever you've got, and we'll actually invert it to where the open side is down. We'll go over the chestnut as we plant it, and then we will cut an X into it, so when it comes up we can just fold those corners in and allow it to grow all the way up. Now, but before you do this, we have to kind of treat them. And if you come over here, you can see we've got a little bit of a fire going, and you can kind of see where I've just got some sticks and leaves going. What we're going to do is we're going to set these cans right down in this fire, just so that they can get heated up pretty well. And what ends up happening whenever you do this is it will cause your cans to rust a little bit quicker than they normally would. And so that way, by the time your tree gets big enough that it is going to emerge and get to the diameter of the can you planted, the can will have become so rusted and brittle that essentially, if you see this is one that's been burned in the past, it just crumbles away into nothing. So it will never girdle your tree, it'll never injure your tree. It essentially just kind of goes away into dust in the soil next to it, okay? And that is an easy way that you don't have to really worry about coming back and messing with the cans too much, outside of just making sure you fold the corners down so that it can go ahead and emerge that first year. Typically by the second or third year, it's already rotted away. On the end of this video, we're going to add a short clip where we're going to show actually how we put the cans and the way we use them into practice.
There they are. This is the can. I put it down there. That'll rust away eventually. Here they are. They're nothing more than bean cans, soup cans. I cut a little spot on the end. I'll fold these up in a minute. Here she goes in. That's a nice looking chestnut. Anyway, just put her down there. Put just a little dirt over it. Try not to cut yourself. And then fold these back over. Now you can't forget about these. You will have to come back and eventually ease those up a little bit at a time as the tree grows. But that's it.